You keep coming back. That's good, officer. Keep...
You find your hands deep in tattered. The box smells like cat pit.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first hand. Buy second hand. The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer. 100% guaranteed.
The speakers below are banged up and worthless. The sneakers triumph over them. They're the star of the show here.
Hello again.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind outside. The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the Small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism? Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world. Many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene La Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé, also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess. sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene Le Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale, a costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history, the DeLorean era. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. As did we all, the lands of the Mesk and the Occident, and even far away Supra-Mwindi. Altogether, 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time immediately accepted Innocentic rule, even before her crowning. In a city called Advesperaskit in Vespa Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning, with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already, her Theriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Theriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen. One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something else. Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves. The man was reported to have screamed at the innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her terriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity. Suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacific, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefrater, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? That she is. A great sacred piece. I wonder what we are doing here, however. In this church, I mean, the coast in general. We shouldn't linger. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text. a leitmotif below them both. Unknown. A motor carriage, a gunshot, someone falling into it, or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocent stay advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, after life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking, a tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Justice, union, prudence, and force. Eyes cool.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are Dolorian in origin.
The woman looks by in silence, smiling enigmatically.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The Dolorian system does not demand faith, only accordance.
The mother of humanism. has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumb. 2 empty bottles of No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some...
A tragedy.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy... Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarette.
Hello. Isn't this a fine morning?
You see, a slogan used to inter... A few locusts trudge along the wall of the trap. The trap is... A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other. As you approach, the man turns and greets you with a polite wave.
Ah, super. It's the officer. I was not expecting to run into you again, but things have a funny way of turning out, no? What brings you down to the scenic Martinez coast? Well, that's très simple. I was visiting the fishing village just north of here. They have applied for a series of microloans to revitalize the old market. And well, I wish to see the situation firsthand. And then, well, I had some extra time on my hands, so I decided to stroll down here. It's quite peaceful, isn't it? Yes. There's nothing like a stroll along the coast to lift one's spirits. Ah? Is that what those pockmarks are? I might have guessed. Fascinating how much history is contained right here, if only one knows where to look for it. Ah bon? I'm all ears, officer. My friend, if it's la responsabilité you're after, I have good news for you. There's no need to form such a committee, because it already exists.
God, of course it does. These moral intern types.
The Comité de Responsabilité de Revachol, it acts as a sort of clearinghouse for coalition activities. To put it simply, they are the ultimate arbiters of la responsabilité in this part of the world.
Yes, this is just the sort of reasonable authority you're looking for.
I would offer to connect you with the committee myself, but alas, I am not actually in Martinez.
What? Where is he then? He's speaking figuratively. He means he's not in Martinez in his official capacity.
Précisément. Officially, I am still in La Delta, preparing for an upcoming conference on fuel oil derivatives. That's why it would be extremely irregular, or potentially even inappropriate for me to intercede with the committee concerning a district I'm not officially in. Yes, you've made your persistence quite clear. Under normal circumstances, I would have to insist you go through the regular channels. But if you have information of a vital interest, they might be willing to entertain an exception. In which case, I would advise you to contact them via Coalition Warship Archer. This is quite the problem. Very tricky. Of course, the Archer has orders to fire on any unidentified aerostatics that might approach it, so it might be safer to get in touch from the ground. But in that case, you would require a radio transmitter capable of broadcasting on Coalition frequencies. And that kind of technology naturally isn't typically available for non-Coalition use. Yes, I suppose there might be some way to circuit bend your way onto those frequencies, but you'd have to be one of those techno-tinkerers to do it. Unfortunately not, no. I don't have the pleasure. I am merely a representative of the Coalition government, not very well versed in technology. But you...
Sounds like something that programmer we met in the church might be able to help with.
Let me just say that I have complete confidence in the RCM. I'm sure you'll figure something out. Always my pleasure to be of assistance to the RCM. Godspeed, and if we don't meet again, bonne chance.
Hey, her Innocence Dolores Day liked little figurines, right? Liked holding little men between her fingers, remember? You have the Headless Falcon Rider figurine. You should give it to her. Win her back. Don't be so pessimistic. Love doesn't die that easily. So very, very, very nifty. Nifty and mysterious. This is surely what the figurines are for.
Yes, what is it? Do I look like someone who has time for side projects at this moment?
If you want her help, maybe you should help her first. The mother of humanism stands above you. Why? That does seem to be a problem. Maybe you meant something else? I don't know. What are we thinking of? Part of your mind has gone on to other things already. The mother of humanism towers above you. A wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression. The mother of humanism stands.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
Goodbye, officer.
Huh? I see you're in.
This young speed freak seems to know a lot of... His look is intensely suspicious.
Don't think so. Big bad frequencies are extremely negative. Thought suppression, dream implantation, memory revision. Pretty...
There is fear there, but also curiosity. He just needs a reason to help you.
Besides, our own signs aren't even synced yet. So how am I supposed to get you synced up with a big bad? It don't make any sense, law lover. Yeah, gotta compare. See? Our signs are... Nah, you heard me. A sticker.
Interesting. He wants you to describe it, though he already knows what it looks like.
Good. What did you want to know? Yes, you're the 23rd person to get it right, and I've asked 23 people. Looks like it's a dead guy, really. We're all the same. Same eyes. He defeated history. We are living in the age of history. The present moment and life are the hardcore. Or maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just really ecstatic about the beats. It should be sold, but not by us. Yes, you're the 23rd person to... Really? We're all the... He defeated the present, or maybe he's not dead.
He blinks, waiting for the next question.
I guess one could write an entire treatise on the thing. But what for? Weird stuff. Wires going...
The People's Republic of Samara is a
Most of it's psionic powers, pale-related diseases, pretenders pretending to be human, folk rights, that kind of stuff.
The young man...
This is hardcore. It's hardcore! Skibber danger. I am the... Back to the... Hardcore! It's hardcore! Skibber.
tequila sunset.
He?
There are many.
Are you
Shut the Our hero, what she does. A headless man, rumored to be searching for his legendary found cap that... Whoa.
tell him about...
Fuck, Rose. What?
I've read the case.
Right. The wind, the women, when she... But there is... her body is never recovered.
Naturally, Ula De Ponte became the prime suspect in the disappearance of Eva Delgado. De Ponte maintained that it was the so-called headless found rider and that she ran, fearing for her life. During the investigation, it became apparent that there was a love triangle, the third party being some small-time businessman. I don't remember the exact details. The leading theory was that an argument broke out on the jetty and De Ponte pushed Delgado into the canal, then cooked up this stupid cover story. No, she committed suicide before she could be taken into custody. Not a pretty scene.
Man, that's some grisly detail. Oh well, anyway, that's the story of the headless found rider. No one...
He won't.
Aye. I saw him one night when I was right shit-faced.
The trap is full of... You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. All the old boombox. A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor.
700 real. A bargain, I dare say.
A bargain? No, it's not. He's trying to sweet-talk you into buying trash.
Hey, I don't know where it came from, but it's not every day you get to buy and sell something so extraordinary. It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
What a shirt. All other shirts pale in comparison to the muscular man with antlers and immense Zweihanders.
I mean, even if the man from Hjelmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjelmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
It's for the best, because Hjelmdal is not a real place, and thus he could not have gone there. His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Interesting.
Welcome to Hyundai, officer.
The dented yellow mailbox.
Every snowflake is like a little gift from the sky.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. Oh yes, how's my precious doing? She's a good girl. Mind your own business, sir. In our society, people don't get to tell each other how to raise their children. It's none of your or anyone's business.
Denial is the way she copes with criticism.
You must be kidding. There's nothing like that happening. Good, sir. What does a young child do with money anyway? No, I save it for her as a fund. She's secure.
Such criminal behavior would not happen in more developed countries.
Indeed. Are we done with the jokes now?
Yes, we've had quite enough fun here. Right.
The woman before you scans the store, her shoulders rigid and tense. Every now and then, she nudges her glasses. A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Browbritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children. Friends are technically like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 real. Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those kind of things. Personally, I don't like it. Not at all. I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral stuff. You can still buy them, though.
An endless variety of sourcebooks, law books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is titled Welkin Compendium, 2nd edition. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Katawak, Boreal Creature Compendium. and a pick-your-path adventure gamebook titled Tales of Wirral, Cavern of Velkrag. Books in a board game section? Who wants to read books? There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements module. The side panel notes, a fantastique adventure board game, new maps and miniatures. A sticker on it displays 25 real. That price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplement, so it makes sense. Nonsense for anemic Beano-clads. A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Ow! Shoot! Whose moronic idea was it to just run through the door? Don't you know that things like that hurt?
Are you alright? This looked pretty intense and painful, I must admit.
What is going on there? Are you really trying to break down the back door? I warn you, don't tempt the spirits, officer. Don't tempt the spirits or you'll damage the holy wards on the door.
It barely looks like you've done any damage to the door, however. It's still locked and closed, covered in dozens of little charms and trinkets. heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked.
Hello again, esteemed officer.
Old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots. His skin is marbled with decaying veins and blotched by lividity. The material delicate. These are clearly not boots. They're armor. Possibly part.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots.
Oh, the lieutenant uses a memo technique A6. That's not just any notebook. It's a classic. It's all you, baby.
Ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be. Under the hill. Fair weather. Fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff.
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup. Suddenly your biceps coil up. Your elbow is sharp and cocked for a punch. Your fist connects to the boot with the same ding. The sound does not appear to get louder. The only difference is a barely audible click underneath. Sounds like the end of a long dice roll.
Did you hear that? A click? This is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads the incoming energy horizontally, from plate to plate. When the plates connect, there's a click. That's the sound you heard. See these lines?
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until there are hundreds of them altogether. Like whirls of floorboards, the design looks organic. influenced by highly resistant wood materials like lignum vitae and ebony perhaps. If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like. The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections, peaking on the right sabaton, where you notice. The whorls are in the shape of a letter and number combination, E50, 100, 1000.
Good. Can you read it to me? We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us. He works for Cornell, like Joyce told us. This is military equipment, provided by a wealthy security contractor, with state ties, way above what we have. It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics. For a full set, about 4 years of wages.
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 real, unadjusted for rank.
As a wage, it's regrettably small. But for a piece of hardware, yes, that's a lot.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Sure, officer. What's the number? And the make of the armor, if you know it. Got it. I'll contact the ICP database immediately. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully they'll have dug up something useful by then. No, and I doubt they'll get back to me before tomorrow morning. Anything else? Just a second, officer. Sylvie Malaika on the line for...
Yes, hello? Oh, great. What else do you need, detective?
You hear the call breaking up.
Anything else I can help you with, officer? 57.
In the cabin, you see a set.
Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man. What's on your mind?
Looking for something?
Right to work!
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
She reaches for the photo, takes it, then holds it in her hand. For about half a minute, in silence.
It was taken with a frigate not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semines Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Interinsulary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning.
Vredefort? Vredefort has a military academy. The Semines Islands saw a recent conflict. In Revachol, he was executed.
That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos.
For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas.
Is there anything else I can help you with? I love you did.
Fast, observantly, like an electronic printer.
Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. I am glad to see a man of high qualification. The situation is precarious. What can I help you with, Lieutenant Teofrata? Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells? Ugh, alright, sad piggy. I'll give you this one. I saw a little girl in the fishing village running around with military-grade handwear. Looked cute as hell.
Could that girl have been little Lily? It's not a bad place to start.
Could have been her. Small kid with giant white armoured hands. If you've seen one of them, you've seen them all. I don't believe it. I've never known those boys to have manners. There'll never be skulls, but their hearts are in the right place. Fat chance, but you can still do your part to revitalize the neighborhood.
She throws you a conspiratorial glance, then presses her finger to her lips and squints up at the sky, as though straining to hear something in the distance.
Have you noticed the quiet? Every so often, you might hear a gunshot pierce the air somewhere in Jamrock. But in Martinez, no gunshots, no sirens. The people are languishing in boredom and complacency. This place is a sepulchre. We'll paint it red. We bring the raucous. You bring the sirens.
She's making a valiant effort to come off as a nihilist, but she's really just an angry little commie. No wonder she was talking about the streets flowing red. That's what happened during the revolution.
You got me, pig shit. I don't make for a very good skull. I like animals too much. Simians and pigs. But I'm still gonna write some damn good graffiti-o on this wall.
Her voice sounds different when she speaks this candidly. Older somehow.
I don't believe it. I've never known those boys to have manners. There'll never be skulls, but...
She throws you a conspiratorial...
Have you noticed the quiet? This place is the
She's making a valiant effort to come off as a nihilist. She'd never admit to it anyway.
Hello again, officers.
A plaster cast bust depicts a middle-aged man with...
Whoever lives here definitely shares your enthusiasm. There aren't many communists around, not after the revolution. The
lieutenant raises a brow.
Thank you for sharing this wonderful opinion on human sexuality. There aren't many communists around, not after...
A weathered brown door. The number reads 20. Something smells good. Soup allons, yo. The lieutenant motions to you to go ahead and knock.
You're right. Let's talk this through.
You hear some light footsteps and what appears to be a daily weather forecast playing on the radio.
We have our first preliminary identification. In all likelihood, the deceased is the husband of Billy Méjean. We need to confirm this, as well as deliver the death notification to Billy herself. Now, delivering a death notification is never an easy task. There's a reason why it's often called the most stressful part of our job. This is why it's usually done in pairs. You got this. I'll be monitoring reactions, ready to act if necessary. Dead? Just don't say that you know how they feel. You don't. Yes, it's hard. But there is no easy way to handle this information. It just has to happen, as soon as possible.
The lieutenant motions towards the door.
Hello? Who is it?
And someone turns down the radio. He gives you a short, encouraging nod.
The police. A moment, please give us a moment.
Tidying up, nervously.
Come in, the door is open.
It's you, from the bookstand. Did you come to bring my cockatoo back? I don't think I introduced myself properly. I'm Billy. Would you like something to drink? Tea? Lemonade? We're out of coffee.
The lieutenant has taken off his foggy glasses and is busy cleaning them in his handkerchief for now. You're on your own here. Condensation from stepping inside.
Is this about Victor, my husband? Is he in some kind of trouble again? I can come pick him up in the station if that's what.
Keep it together. You don't want your body language to tell her the news.
Sorry, I'm rambling. It's just that Victor often gets into all kinds of trouble. So, how can I help you?
How about some small talk before you break the news?
It's me, Victor, and the kids here. We have 2 daughters, Jenny and Jolie. Jolie is 16 and Jenny is turning 18 next month. The girls are staying at their friend's place tonight, and Victor is out.
She swallows visibly.
No. Why? Do you have any news? Just to return a book of mine? Why? Why all those questions, Detective? Did he... Yes.
She folds her hands across her chest. Here it comes. You've done this before. Just keep your focus.
What did you say?
A great and terrible spike. The blood freezes in her veins.
Oh. Oh. But he was just...
But he was just here, alive.
We understand this comes as a huge shock. I want you to know that me and my partner are here for you if you have any questions. Take your time.
What happened to him? Was he drunk? I see. And you just found him there, lying in the cold. How long had he been there?
If you say 2 days maybe, it will be etched in her mind forever. She blinks, eyes welling up with tears, as her hand starts searching for something from the pockets of her dress. The handkerchief. A small, terrified smile quivers on her face as she takes the handkerchief and wipes away the tears. She looks disoriented.
Is there anyone we could call for you? A friend, a family member, someone who could be here for you?
No. I just need to tell my girls.
It burns like acid. Unreal.
God. Should I call them? Should I tell them to come home?
No. A day.
Good. That's probably the right thing. Thank you. Just tell me, what do I need to do next? Where is he? Can I see him?
We've taken him to the city morgue. The local coroner will be contacting you shortly to arrange the funeral. Here's his number in case you want to contact him earlier.
A very good call.
Is there anything else that the RCM could do for you?
No, I'll call you if something comes up. I'm still... Thank you. Thank you for telling me. I'll call if...
These are her last reserves of strength. Her muscles will give in soon. Already, she starts to shake.
We should step outside and talk. You did well. I'll call the station when we're finished with the day, and let them know the name of the deceased. They'll manage. That's it. We should get back to our case now that our duty here is done. Let's go.
This door is made of metal, and no one answers.
Let's go.
The spread pattern of these bullet holes makes your chest ache. Your breath grows heavier. More old bullet holes, half a century at least, from the Revolution. You peer into the faded marks in the stone. They peer back like an endless row of tiny black holes. Sweat starts trickling down. Your chest feels tight looking at them. It's closing in, caving in, ever tighter. Your breathing grows even heavier.
You okay there? Might be the after effects of your past escapades. What are you looking at? Bullet holes generally look the same, so probably. But you're right. More old bullet holes from the Revolution. Plenty.
The door is closed again. Nothing to do here anymore. You hear someone inside, walking from room to room. Whoever lives here must be...
Trying to sneak up on me again!
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Is this about... Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything. A warehouse? I don't know.
She scrunches up her face.
Fine. For it doesn't...
The purity of snow always reminds me of the purity of a man's soul, if he's got principles.
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer. How may I head the citizens' militia on this...
The purity of snow always reminds me of the purity of a man's soul, if he's got principles.
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer. It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it.
Yes. Yes.
This one doesn't say anything, kicking the concrete.
Lily's our mum.
The stone kicker laughs suddenly. The other one laughs. Wow, the stone kicking isn't even a very high...
You're stupid. Okay. Hello, mister. Oh, I had gloves. Very big ones. Heavy, too.
Where did you get these gloves?
Found them when Lemmy and I were playing hide and seek. In an empty house. Where no one lives. I think someone hid them there.
She doesn't want you to think she stole them.
I hid them. The twins were gonna take them. They're stupid.
We're going to need those gloves. It's for important police business.
Oh. They're in my sandcastle. Behind our house. Under the sand. You can break the castle. It's not very good. Little Lily. Do you know my mom? Uh-huh. Mom is great. You know what's great about my mom? Everything! Bye!
Is that the phasmid? It looks like the phasmid, leaning against the wall. It's not the phasmid. It's not even organic. It's a fire iron. How disappointing. Don't be too hard on yourself. You couldn't have known that for sure. And, besides, finding this phasmid is your special destiny. You can feel it. Weather has not been kind to Lily's little sandcastle. The once mighty towers are quickly eroding away. You can see something shining back to you from what must have been a vast underground catacomb network.
The little castle? The reigning lord must have come upon some really tough times to let it sleep in such decrepitude.
The walls and floors give way to the giant's greed, collapse and present you with a pair of ceramic gauntlets.
Congratulations. That's the gauntlets down then. We're doing good on the armor collection front.